If you want to create your personal brand, you have to surprise people. You have to be cutting edge, you have to be innovative, and the personal brand will grow by itself. AI is the enabler of your performance. But in order to drive performance, AI needs your human touch and your expertise. The interesting thing is, today by leveraging SEO through ChatGPT, you can optimize your geo approach. Because ChatGPT is going to tell you why your competitors are better than you, and if you want to beat them, what you need to do. And if you beat them based on the recommendations, ChatGPT will pick you up. AI has been driven by humans that were controlling the ticket, controlling the content, the answers, and AI has optimized the performance by enabling individuals to understand by analysis of the language, by analysis of the image, what generative AI is good at that, to help the managers, the leaders, decision makers to make the right decisions based on the data. Customer experience is really the vector for all generations today. They look for a brand to recognize them as an individuals. So they want to be served, they want to have a unique experience.
Welcome for another episode of Future Proof Leaders for Future Proof Business. We have Franck Ardourel, and an AI pioneer systems thinker transforming how we do business in the age of AI. Franck, thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you.
And Franck, let's dive in right away, and maybe you can go and tell us about why go deeper into AI when most are only scratching the surface?
Okay, yes, it's simple. We all came with the digital transformation in 1999, and AI came in 15 years ago. But for the past 2 years, AI has been very accessible and making the business even better by increasing performance, by increasing automations, by reducing risk. So AI is really, I will say, your team players that help you get better. Whatever you do in your business, you are a marketer, a customer support manager, a leader. AI provide you a way to level up your business and to reach new height. But it's true, we are scratching the surface is because we are not teaching AI yet at the university, at school, and people are a little bit scary about AI. But it's an interesting transformation of our society that we need to live with, and it's right now.
Yes, it is. It is very interesting, and it's great to have you here with your background and what we want to reveal, and for the audience as well, is we wanted to really know about your journey. So you're very known with marketing, customer relationships, customer experiences, and how did you transition from there to AI?
So I did not transition to AI per se, but I have been leveraging AI to put CX and marketing to another levels where the business is looking for, which means instead of talking about SEO, with AI, we talk about GEO. Instead of talking about writing a blog, with AI, we talk about automations of blog writing. So the transition has been done with AI because AI is the enabler to allow you to perform. So I talk about the blog, for instance. Writing blog used to take hours. It used to take research about the topics, etc. Today, I use AI to make the research for me and to review the article and to make sure it is written with the tone and the voice of the book I wrote. And that takes me 1 hour every Tuesday morning. I have the result of the search. I know exactly what subject is I'm going to talk about, and I'm writing about it. And that's how I became the top writer for in 2025 for CMS Wire. So to answer your questions, I embrace AI in order to move from, let's say, cost center to profitability centers, increasing productivity, increasing revenue, And AI is the enabler that allow you to do it. And when you think about it, this is what customers are looking for. They are looking for the business that is going to help them go to the next level, especially in this AI transformation.
Yes, definitely. And I think, in my opinion, and I have interviewed a lot of leaders and also spoken with a lot of clients and some of my peers as well. Most of the people are focusing on tools, focusing on fancy features, and they forgot that the biggest, most important thing is to have more profit, return of investment, ROI. And I'm sure that we can talk about that in this podcast a little bit more about like what part of your work feels most underrated by others. We would love to know your experience.
I think as a fractional CMO or CXO, I've been facing what we call a return on investment. And it has been very difficult for marketers to come up with the proof of return on investment. But today, based on the digital transformations, based on AI, we are able to do it. So I think I will say we are moving from seeing marketing and customer experience as a cost center, more as a profit center, but still needs to be proof. So you need to come up not only with the tools, but also with the result and the process to achieve it. So you talk about profitability, which goes with customer satisfactions. That is, I think, where business have been struggling. How do you foresee customer satisfaction, customer loyalty, advocacy, in the meantime, create the best profitability or value for your business? And these intersections, I think this is where business have been struggling quite a lot.
It's true. By the way, if I were to really dig deeper into a little bit about that, customer satisfaction, how critical is it to any business, in your opinion?
Customer, I will not talk about customer satisfactions. I will talk about customer experience, which includes customer satisfactions. This is the core of your business. If you put CX in the middle of all the interest of your business, you will be successful. Why? It's because you will see that customer stay attached, connected, even if your price is a little bit higher, because the experience will be there. So customer experience is really the vector for all generation today, especially Gen Z or Millennium. They look for a brand to recognize them as an individuals. So they want to be served. They want to have a unique experience. So when you think about CX, you need to think about a customer that is going to embrace all the engagement with the brand and get satisfied at each engagement of the brand. And if you put the sum of all engagements of a brand and the customers, you get this increased customer satisfactions, which turn into a loyalty and may turn into an advocate. But the new paradigm of marketing is CX. This is not only for marketing, this is also for business. As a quick example, if you measure the customer experience is the sum of all customer brand interactions. A customer brand interactions can be led by a leader, an employee, an influencer, customer support, a salesperson. So you have a lot of stakeholders that interact on behalf of the brand with the customer. And the CX or the experience need to associate all these touch points to achieve the result the business is looking for. Because if the influencer screw up, if customer service don't serve exactly what the customer wants, your business will be impacted. You will get a bad voice on social media, and so on and so on. So that's why I decided for the past 2 years now to focus on CX and to help business understand the importance of it. The best example I have is if you think about Netflix business rely on its retention rate. They have more than 90% retention rate, which means they don't need to acquire really new customers. They already have this base of customers that give them a member fee every month, and provide them with billions of dollars. Why CX is important for them is because behind the CX experience, they have billions of dollar revenue. So it's a long answer for short questions, but it is what it is.
That's a very interesting answer, because the biggest, I would say, misconception is when we focus our energy into somewhere else, because sometimes we talk about revenue, profitability, but sometimes customer experience we be also kind of not going to be the priority on the plate. And that's good that you raise that use cases, examples, and also the customer journey, and also the relatability, and also the goal of having this experience is to create advocates of your brand, just relating with them and tailor that experience to different generations, as what you mentioned about Gen Z. So it has to be something that would relate to them and also resonate with them. So if I understand correctly, is it something much more of the contents, the messages? How would you kind of, execute those customer experience to in kind of in some use cases, so that our audience will also have some more perspective from you, like as an expert in this, and also giving some sort of other use cases? And I like the Netflix too.
So before to answer these questions, I want to go back to the vector of the customer experience. If you have a loyal customers, you increase your upsells and cross sells. So you don't do one sales, you do multiple sales. If you turn your customer, your loyal customer, into an advocate, he's going to create a word of mouth, and he's going to connect with 5, 10 of their friends that are going to become customers. That's the way that Netflix has been doing business. So when you look at that, you see the rationality of customer satisfaction or experience with revenue. To answer your question now, how we do it, it's a simple flow. It's not rocket science. Ideal situations is to understand your persona. So you have a group of persona for a group of product, and you want to understand their journey. The only thing you have to do is to understand where is the customer journey from the first touch to post transactions. How many engagements you got? So how many touch points the customer went through your brand, and for each touch point to identify what channel they use, what content they use in order to engage and to move. And you can lead what we call a qualitative analysis about what they have been doing. And you can quantify versus the industry, and you can compare yourself about how you are doing. So as an example, if you have what we call a reach of customer and your click through is 0.7 and your competitors is 1.8, it means that you are bleeding at this age and you are not providing the customers what he's looking for as a first touch point. So you can correct that and leverage AI to help you identify what content and where is the channel where I can capture this audience. And you can do that for different persona. And as soon as you map this customer journey, it's gold. You are going to scale your spend in advertising. You are going to scale your onboarding process. You are going to be able to monitor exactly everything you want because of your knowledge and expertise of your customers. There is not a content per se. It's just an identifications based on the segment about how you can flow the journey and capture the elements that are going to allow you as a brand to connect with your customers. And I develop tools that allow, so it's an interesting tools because I ask 7 questions, and through 7 questions, I can map the customer journey, and I can define the qualitative and quantitative analysis, as well as provide the visual of the customer map of the customer journey based on the number of touch points, based on the length, like how much time does it take from first touch to sales? Does it take 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks. For informations, usually for our customers, you go through about 10 touch points. Either you do business to business or direct to consumer business. Of course, it may vary. It could be 12, it could be 15, it could be 5, it could be 7. I'm talking about an average. But that demonstrates that today in our society, it is on-demand economy. The number of touch points are increasing. And if you look at Google search, you will see that from 20 years ago, we moved from few touch points to 10 touch points. Why? Is because of the digital transformation, is because of the technology, is because of the mobility, and is because you have access to all these tools to allow you to access informations anytime, anywhere. So I will say the world today is easier for a marketer if you use the right tools to understand the customer and to connect with them.
Yes, that's beautiful. Like understanding every step of the customer journey and what's the how many touch points or the average if you're going to study all of that from your analytics, probably that is really key. And I'm also learning from you, Frank, that there's so much components and elements when you want to be dominating your niche, because you wanted to understand the customer experience from the first step, the second step, the third step, and so on. And how can you make that step, like to make them or reach to bring them to the advocate level, as that's the biggest goal for every customer. And also you mentioned about geo SEO. It's good that we can talk about this as well. Like if it's possible, like you could explore, we're going to explore how AI is changing online visibility, because right now things are changing. We have AI, we have ChatGPT, we have LLM, and the way people or consumer or customer experience has added a different layer or a different avenue for them to search, right? Maybe you can probably share with us a little bit more about SEO and also GEO.
Yes, it's that comes up with the evolution of the consumer. So, because of this new AI or generative AI, consumers, people now searching on Perplexity, they are not searching. Let's step back. You still have a percentage of people searching on Google, but Google also is coming with AI in order to compete against ChatGPT, Cloud, and Perplexity. Why that? It's because the mentality and the mindset now of consumers, they go to ChatGPT not for searching, for asking. And when you ask for questions and you want a precise answer. What does it mean? It says you are not asking for alternative. You are asking for a straight answer to your questions versus SEO, which is the web, which is your mobile, where you are searching for something. But the world of AI allow user now to go straight to the point. So what is the impact? There is different impact. There is impact for advertising. I believe, I cannot prove it, but I believe that Google advertising is losing a momentum, and the revenue generated by Google are decreasing. I bet you that by the end of the year of 2025, Google should announce a decrease in their revenue because they are not going to generate the advertising they want. Why that is because now when you do Google ad campaign, you don't get the impact that you're looking for. It's because 40% of people go to generative AI. So when you think now about SEO, you need to think smarter about geo. What it means, you need to make your website, your brand visible. The viral aspect of a brand is gone. Now, the visibility is much more important. And the visibility will come by creating authenticity, by creating trust, by just being very transparent of what you do, how you do it. You need to make your content or your website or your mobile machine readable. Search from ChatGPT, Cloud, or Perplexity can find you. And in order to find you, you have to be very explicit and you have to be, I will say, simple, authentic, and structured. And I will say the analogy between SEO and GEO is that today you don't work on your SEO on few keywords or 5 keywords. You don't take keywords. The ideal idea is to market your website or your brand through what we call long tail keywords, which are phrases. Which why phrases is because this is the way customer ask questions. When you ask questions, you have a noun, a verb, and a complement. And based on this search, ChatGPT is going online and is going to figure out where it's going to find your answer. So when you think about the content of your website, your mobile, your product, your brand missions or visions, you need to think about how customer is going to get you based on the questions. So like I say, it's not a search anymore. It's more asking your questions, which make a huge difference. And now you are people moving from Google to ChatGPT, Cloud, or Perplexity, which are the new tools. And personally, I may use Google search twice, 3 times a week for certain reason. But anytime I want something straight, I go to my favorite tool is ChatGPT. I go also to Perplexity because this is the most performing tool today, but they give me the answers. And if you search for Franck Ardourel on ChatGPT versus Google search, you will see Frank is a teacher, is a consultant, is an author, and they give you the brief biography of me versus Google, we will provide some image, some link to the website, and it's not what you're looking for. So speed, accuracy, that's where we are going through. But the beauty of it is if you do the job right and not trying to trick around the system, you should be getting into GEO. Even if you do so, what it means is you need to do SEO properly and not to try these tricks that we used to have, like how many backclick do I have? That is over. Now it's content, a content that needs structure. It's the same as a professor that structures the course. And you need to think about how you prompt your core. You have an introduction, you have an objective, you have the body of your content that you explain, you have a conclusion. And everything needs to relate this way. Tools like ChatGPT lack this approach because this is a way they find the answer to their customer. And if they find the answer to their customers, they get $20 per month because at a certain point, you are going to pay your generative AI tools, favorite tools, to get the answer you want anytime.
Yeah, that's a very profound answer. And SEO, just for the benefit of our audience, SEO is a search engine
Correct.
optimization, while GEO is generative engine optimization, right?
Exactly. So you move from an optimization of a website to an optimization of your website for an engine, a generative AI engine. Yeah.
Fully agree. Fully agree. And things are changing, and that's something that is a forecast for this year that maybe this SEO might decline. And it actually is already declining, right? Because when you think about it, the usage of LLMs, which is the large language models, which is like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, these are much more on the adoption right now versus going to Google to search or other search engine.
But you
So,
have to keep in mind
mhm,
that these tools browse the web. So your SEO needs to turn into a GEO. So you need, I will say, the new functions of SEO is going to disappear to become more a geo functions. That's what I will say. And I talked to a strategist leader lately, about 2 weeks ago, and he was laughing when I say that, but he agreed with it. It seemed that Google has lost the momentum that he used to, or the monopoly that he had. And it's good. It's just because that's the way things change. And nobody was expecting this approach in the past. But it is what it is. So,
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Things are changing.
yeah.
And if I were to ask you to kind of simplify, because let's say we talk about search engine optimization, there are ways for you to set it up for your company, for your brand, to be out there with the long tail keywords. If any company, entrepreneur, business owner would like to set their company or brand into the GEO, how simple would it be?
So yes, it is simple, in fact. So SEO is a 10-step process. You look at your competitors, you look at keywords, you play on a meta tag, you look at links. So you have 10 steps. One exercise that I've done that was very interesting is I created an AI tools and I ask ChatGPT simple 10 step. And I say, first step, hey ChatGPT, this is the 3 competitors that I have. I want to rank better than them. Hey ChatGPT, this is the keywords where I want to rank better than them. Hey ChatGPT, can you give me what content is missing on my website? So the interesting thing is today by leveraging SEO through ChatGPT, you can optimize your geo approach because ChatGPT is going to tell you why your competitors are better than you, and if you want to beat them, what you need to do. And if you beat them based on the recommendations, ChatGPT will pick you up. So it may seem simple, but since you're leveraging AI in order to get the answer for SEO, you in fact create the geo for yourself. And I think that was an interesting approach. Now, that doesn't remove the fact that the second piece of geo is really your content and make it readable, make it machine readable, and making sure that you answer question properly. That still stay there, but you can balance with your approach. Instead of doing the SEO traditionally way, you use ChatGPT to do your SEO, which become your geo. I don't know if that gives you an answer, but I experimented and it has been working for me. So, and by the way, when you do the 10 step, so roughly what you do is you write a prompt with your 10 questions, you create your app. The only things you have to do after creating your app is to enter 3 competitors, your keyword, and your domain name, and it does the rest in less than a minute. No search anymore. You don't have to have a team that compile information, find the keyword. That's over. You still need the touch about what you think should be the search term that people want. But with this few adjustment, you monitor your geo strategy through SEO by leveraging AI.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing about that SEO to GEO. I mean, there's so much things that has been shifting. And in your opinion, I know that you have been in this arena for quite a while. What's the biggest shift from SEO to GEO that people are actually ignoring now? I know that you explained a little bit more of what's the changes, but what is that biggest shift that people are, it's like they're not putting their attention into that?
I think it's because they are not aware of this transformation, this shift in customer mindset. They have not been impacted yet by the geo aspect. It's because still, things are still new. And I think the company that are going to win are the company that are thinking right now about it and working about it. So it's still new, which means we are, I will say it's 18 months, things were starting to come, and that's going to accelerate. And as soon as they are going to see their traffic declines, ad declines, they are going to start thinking about geo. It's like in any human being. I don't know if we have a lot of leaders that forward thinker and think before things happen. Even in US, by the way, we pay a CEO a fortune, and they were not able to predict the turn with AI. and they let go thousands of people. Personally, I think we should have fired this CEO or this expert that couldn't find the vision of it. And for your question, is the same thing is if people don't think about the vision, about the impact within the next 18 months or 2 years, they are going to be in trouble. So it's a question about as a leader, what do you do? And a lot of leaders are much more challenger. They much follow in order to see what will come, in order for them to jump on it. And I think that is a mistake because as soon as you do that, you lose your leadership. And for SEO, I think to answer your question, it's just this human approach where they don't know what they don't know and they are waiting for a better understanding to jump in it. But for marketing your podcast, ask me through email later on. I will send you these SEO tools and use it. And maybe you will tell me the impact of it. That will be fun to know.
Yeah, that would be fun to know. We can do an experiment together, and we can use that as a use case too. Beautiful, beautiful, Frank. And I know that you mentioned one critical aspect of any brand right now with this day and age is our contents. And whether we like it or not, we need to be a creator in this arena, in this ecosystem, in this AI era, right? So if we're gonna talk about like how should like a business owner or a creator to start showing up in AI generated results, like how would that look like?
That is tough questions. I don't know if I have an answer. However, you can use AI to help you. That's what is the beauty of AI we talked at the beginning is. So I use AI every week to understand what is a hot topic based on my business. What is the last trend for an organization? So AI can drive you about what people are searching for, what people question they have regarding a topic. So I'm going to try to get an example. I was very interested by TX. So we talk about CX, customer experience. For the past 2 years, I've been talking about total experience, TX. And lately, I did a search. It was 2 weeks ago. And in fact, AI allowed me to pull up some interesting article and a research about Forbes research about TX, where company like Delta was talking about CS and the impact of TX. And so my point is you have to leverage the tool that you have in your hand to discover what content needs to be set for your product or your brand. So if you market, that goes back to your previous questions. If you are an SEO agency and you look for what do I need to do today? You need to talk about GEO and how you approach it. And you are going to increase the buzz around your business and you are going to drive more traffic. So it's really, you need to be a forward thinker and you need to use AI as your co-partners to become this forward thinker, especially on content. I used to work with tools like BuzzSumo in the past, which
Mhm.
was a consumer tool. But today we move from consumer tools to intelligent engine which go beyond that. You can become very smart by leveraging AI that is going to dictate what to do with your content, what will be the pain point of your client, how your client resolve their pain point, what answers they want. So if you are a CRM players, one of the pain points today is, do I need to use AI agent to do my customer support? This is what Salesforce have been doing. And today they are successful and they cut their cost by 70%. So they were embracing AI, and by understanding AI and AI what he was telling them to do, become the best success in CRM system. And today, if you look at Salesforce, so I implemented Salesforce 2 years ago. They didn't have this AI layer called Einstein on every product. Today, they have Einstein AI tools on the CRMs, on the marketing cloud, on the personalization engine, on the CDP. So they have been listening their consumers as well as understanding the technology to feed the gap between the consumers and their product. And that's the way I will process. There is no secret science. It's more a scientific approach of seeing your business. And I think it's better than in the past, because in the past we were assuming certain aspect of the economy. Today, you don't assume, you predict in real times. So yeah, no guess
Yes.
anymore.
I know if those high performing teams, high performing companies, they would also take time to do all of this. And it takes time
Yeah.
without AI before. But now it's like, as you said, like it could be minutes, it could be less than an hour to just get all your database and for you to get the feedback from a client firsthand. And then that's where you can even tailor and tweak your customer experience to give more satisfaction for your customers. So that's amazing. And what about if you go from, let's talk about, let's say, personal branding right now, Frank, is really kind of raising up to speed. Like I think that most of the people that I know, maybe probably 70-80% are going into personal branding. Like, what's your opinion about the shift of why is people going for personal branding at this day and age with the AI?
I think I started the personal branding. I never thought about it. I've been working on it for the past few years only. I think it's personal branding works if you want to become a tough leader, a forward thinker. So you need to find a niche. You need to become an expert. And the personal branding makes sense. Like I say before, authenticity, credibility, trust. The personal branding needs all this attached. If you don't have it, you will never create a personal brand. You will not never you will have a personal brand, but you will never be recognized. And what is interesting is today, if you look at influencer on LinkedIn, you are becoming a top influencer if you have 258,000 followers or people who like you and you connected with. I don't trust LinkedIn this way. Why? It's because if you are a leader with 250,000 connections and you send a post, or you just do a blog post on LinkedIn, your returns is less than 1%. Versus if you have a personal branding and you are an authority and people trust you, you should be showing in search engine through ChatGPT as an author. I'm going to give you an example. I don't think I am a tough leader. I still have a lot to complete, but when I was creating my CX AI course, I was creating 5 presentations and I always ask for 5 quotes. And I say, hey, ChatGPT, can you find me a quote about this subject and topics? And the good thing is, he came back with my quote of my book that I wrote 2 years ago. And I say, wow, that is interesting. So I've become the authority for a certain topic for ChatGPT. So answering your questions, you don't become a personal brand overnight. And I will say it's like, don't think personal brand. Think about what you are going to deliver and communicate. And the personal brand will be built around that. It's like everybody wants to make money, but don't think about making money. Think about how you are going to achieve it. That is going to help you to make money. What product or service are you going to come up with? Personal branding is the same, and the engine will do the rest for you. It's because people will talk about you, people will search, will ask questions, and that is as simple as that. I did a conference in Dubai, and people ask me, say, how did you know that it was a good conference? I said, because as soon as I stopped talking, I got 150 requests to connect. And can I get 150 requests to connect when I'm online over the week? It's going to take me hours, 40 hours, 80 hours. By just talking about a topic and making people interested in it, this is how you leverage your personal brand. To be honest with you, Justin, if you want to create your personal brand, you have to surprise people. You have to be cutting edge. You have to be innovative. and the personal brand will grow by itself. It's like same as influencer today. Nobody, I
Mm.
mean, I see a lot of TikTok influencer. How do they become influencer? It's because they are feeding an audience with something the audience is waiting for or was waiting for a long time. That is as simple as that. It's the same for business. And you get 200,000 followers. You are a singer, you are a band, and suddenly you have 2 million of followers because your song, this is what exactly they wanted to. That's the best analogy. It's they didn't build their personal brand. They produce content that make them personally recognizable.
Exactly. That's super valuable. And Frank, I think there is also a nuance about building a personal brand, like as a person, because there's also a fine line between a human to human relatability, and also some people will also ask like, which one is more effective, creating a brand name, like brand, versus your own personal brand, as in like your own name. So, what's your take about those that nuance, or both, as long as you deliver what the market is looking for? You mentioned about the band. So band is kind of like a group name or maybe a brand name. What's the most effective way right now to approach personal branding?
A band is going to be recognized based on the, let's say, the music they are producing. So they are being recognized based on the content they are going to deliver to the audience and the interest they are going to capture. If you are in business to business, it's going to be based on the service you provide, on the product you sell. And if you are an individual, I recommend right away to create your own brand because you never know where you're going to be. And it's better to start earlier than too late because you are going to start building your brand based on your name. A few years ago, I decided to build my website, Franck Ardourel. I don't know why I've done it this way, but today it served me a lot because when people search for me, it's my brand, it's my name, it's me, and it works perfectly. And when I was advising my son, when he was looking for creating his CPA office, I told him, I say,
Mhm.
use your first name, last name, Jeremy. Use your personal first name, last name as your brand. But that works if you are an individual and a top thinker. If you are a brand itself, you need to have a brand name that is going to resonate. But Yahoo, Google got this type of name. Facebook, Twitter, Delta, Amazon. Today, they are common brand, but they didn't select the brand and be successful based on the brand. They have been successful based on the missions and the value proposal behind the brand. And that is based on this customer experience that you deliver, which come with the content, which come with everything you need to achieve for the customer to be satisfied and loyal. So my point is, if you're an individual, create your personal brand, but don't screw up because you can create a personal brand and get negative impact on it. So either you do that or as a brand for a company, but at the core of your success, you have for customer experience management. And that doesn't change. What brand you have, what name you select doesn't matter. What's matter is this CX in the middle that is going to drive you business up. That's my answer.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful answer. Customer experience is always the top key into the success. And that could probably serve that high value answer that you just made, could be addressing those nuances in the marketplace. Because there's a question about, do I create my personal first and last name, or would it be a brand of my business? And you can do both.
Yeah.
And but the biggest thing that you have to start is what you mentioned, is to serve that customer experience, to give them exactly what they want, and they will be satisfied through that experience.
Yes.
And what you have been demonstrating and what you have been doing for these years are also inspirational. So you could be a very good example on that.
Yeah.
So Frank, let's go a little bit more of the turning customer experience into a revenue engine, right? So let's talk about in terms of how would you explain like how improving the customer journey can drive profit into like one of the top three things that you think that are very critical and also could get that return of investment back as soon as possible.
So that goes back to the customer journey. So you can divide the customer journey in few categories. So you have the customer acquisition, you have the customer retentions, you have the word of mouth, and you have customer support. So you have four buckets that is going to embrace your customer during the journey. And each bucket has indicator and KPI. So if you do acquisition right, with and your KPI over the average in the industry, you are good and you are making the maximum of revenue. So if you are reaching more people, if you are converting more sales than your competitors, you are doing good. If you compare these numbers to your industry and you are low, it means you are losing market share, you are losing revenue, and you can adjust that rapidly. So, for instance, if you have a click through that is lower than your competitors, which it means you're not targeting the right audience. So, you just have to focus on this aspect and say, okay, what is my audience that is going to increase my CTR? And by just thinking with your team, you can reverse from zero point 0.5 to 1.8. And suddenly everything is going to go in a green. Not only you get more customers, but you get more conversions and you get more sales. Now you take the second bucket, which is the customer satisfaction or the customer retention. Retentions means you went already through the sales. Now you are engaging your customer through an onboarding process and you are keeping your customer happy. So you have KPI like net promoter score, customer satisfaction, and you can create some other KPI. And once again, same thing. You compare this KPI, you say, my net promoter score is 80. You have nothing to do. You are doing the right things because 80 is the top. But your NPS is 25. You are bleeding, which means your customer doesn't like the way you treat them. So my point is, for this bucket as well, you look at the KPI, and as soon as you turn and you understand what is the frictions and you fix it, your revenue move up because your customer satisfactions move up, your upsells move up, your cross sales move up. Now you take the third bucket, which is the word of mouth, the loyalty, the advocacy. What you want is you want customer to talk about your brand and you want them to invite their friend and the friend of their friend. And if you can achieve this result, you are going to increase revenue organically without spending a penny in marketing, which is the beauty of marketing in some point. You don't need to do marketing to market your product. You just need to have satisfied and loyal customer. You look at the churn rate, you say, we are bad versus the industry. Let's move by 2 point, 3 point, 4 point. And after you look at customer support, and I also say customer support because, or customer service, because if people invest in customer support or service, it means this business are suck. If you are doing business right, you don't need customer support. You don't need customer service. Can we eliminate customer service and support? No, of course not. But can you reduce the cost of it? Can you reduce the number of tickets? Can you reduce the time you spend answering your customers? Yes, you can. And today, company or brand leverage AI agent to do it. And AI is doing a great job. But that is also another point where you can act and generate revenue. So you look at all this bucket, and this is why I call total experience, because you have the experience of acquisitions, experience of retentions, of word of mind, loyalty, and customer support. and you look at all KPI indicators. And based on your capability, based on resources and investment, you decide which KPI you are going to act on. And you can take one or two. You don't need to tackle everything. But by just fixing one, two, or three KPI, you increase your revenue. It's going to be like a domino effect. So, yeah, it's as simple as that, in fact. And that, again, goes back to your customer journey and understanding the qualitative analysis of your customer journey, the quantitative analysis, how you measure. And after you have an action plan to fix where you are bleeding or fix frictions. And companies have different venue with that. There is companies that are very good at acquiring customers. One of them is I work for is 24-hour fitness. So January, February, March, we got all customers because they want to lose weight, they want to be the best people, etc., etc. And by March, this is where everything decreases. Why? It's because we never find a way to retain the motivations of the member to stay in a gym, to suffer, to become better. And that is an aspect of the business that the company that is going to fix that in fitness is going to be the leaders. And there is different way you can fix it. And you can create a virtual gym, for instance. There is a lot of things you can do, but that is just an example where every industry or company, they have their own issue, sometimes related to industry, sometimes related to the consumers. But as soon as they understand it, they can fix it. And once again, it's at the middle of the pipe. And if you understand it, you get it. You win.
Exactly. Those four buckets are really valuable. And especially when you want to get return of investment and increase your revenue and how you can grow your business and scale.
Yep.
And the thing about this, Frank, is what I most observe is like even though we know these buckets and some most wouldn't, but why do most leaders fail to measure these buckets, these metrics? Like, why is that?
Because they are thinking short term and not long term. Because when you think long term, it means you may sacrifice the revenue for a quarter. It may take time to win on a revenue. In our economy, when you are public, when you are stakeholder, you have to increase revenue quarter by quarter. There is no chance that they are going to let you decrease. They always want you to increase their revenue. And that is the wrong approach because leader doesn't have times to think about CX because CX may take 18 months. Changing a culture in a company to be AI first culture, to be a CX first culture, doesn't happen overnight. You cannot train your people to be AI focused in 3 months. So when you do that, you are impacting operations, and because stakeholders don't want to impact operations because they have to feed their stakeholders with the bonus that they require. So the business is in some leader struggle thinking, okay, let's go short term and think long term. But that doesn't work. So company that focus on customer experience today have a long-term visions versus the others that may win for a quarter or 2 quarters, but will lose after that. And that I think has been true with COVID, where with COVID, company were very short timer, so they did a lot, they succeed a lot, but after COVID was over, they drop. It's because they just got the vision for the short COVID time. That's an answer to the present. Leader need to think about the future. And if you think long term, this is how you can figure out about what will be the change in the economy and how you are going to absorb it. So If you think about customer experience, you can think agility, you can think adaptability, and it will allow you to react quickly to any issue that come up on a market, whatever is the market conditions. And it will be easy for business thinking on the long-term visions to succeed. However, for the next short term, 12 or 18 months, may not be the case. So a lot of leaders are not jumping because they know that they will be not punished, but the stakeholder will not like it. So that is how the business works today. It's you have to show your number, show your revenue quarter after quarter, and they have to be positive.
Okay, so when you talk about long term, how long are we looking at? Is it like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 3 years? What does that long term look like?
No, I think for me, long term is 18 months to 3 years. Like
Hmm.
changing a culture of a company, I think it will take at least 12 months. Changing a MarTech configurations will take, yes, less than a year. But for industry like bank or healthcare industry, it's much more complicated. The legacy system, the cyber security. So if you are a big corporations, internationals like HP, like Delta, like Amazon, it will take more times. It's because your organization is so huge that you need to fix it. If you are a small or medium-sized company, it should take like less than 18 months to achieve this goal. So to answer your questions based on your previous questions, I think everything is factored by the size of the company, by the legacy where you live, by how long you have been on the market. And you have company like HP for I work for this company, and the legacy was huge. They have been using process for 25 years. You come and you say, let's be CX focused today and let's move on. So you are going to change 20 years of process. It's not going to happen over time. So you are going to have to update the technology. You are going to have to train the people. You are going to change the process. So you have to think about the industry constraint, the size of the company, the legacy of the company, and how much it takes in terms of resources, process, investments to get there. And can company invest millions of dollars right away in order to achieve this goal, understanding that the result of this million of dollars invested, bottom line will occur within the next 3 or 5 years. So all this approach makes some business difficult to move on this change or digital transformations. Today, they have no choice, so they will have to do AI. Because they have to create this AI focused culture or this AI first culture. They have to change the mindset of their employee to get there, or they are going to lose the train on the market. So it's like you have to change this consumer technology versus this AI technology. And how do you make employee thinking AI instead of thinking technology at some point? That is the answer that I will give.
Yes, exactly. There's so many, I would say, holes to to fill the gap
Yes,
right now
yes.
in terms of just transition. If we're going to talk about, because this is a very interesting topic as well, and just to go down like one more layer about like how can, if we're going to be improving customer experience, how could it directly increase profitability? Like, I know that you mentioned earlier in this podcast, you talk about cross selling, upselling, getting other the four buckets. Maybe on another layer down, like how do we directly increase the profitability?
I think it really relate on what I talked before. It's if your KPI are aligned, the profitability is there. So, and you measure the profitability by measuring two indicators: the churn cost or churn rate, which is the customer value that you are losing, versus the customer lifetime value. So if all your KPI in a green are aligned, your customer lifetime value should be optimum. So if you are able, like Netflix, retain 80% of your customers, and they retain their customer for 10 years, you can calculate easily the customer lifetime value based on a membership for 10 years. The profitability for any company should be measured at its customer lifetime value. That is going to conditions how much you can spend per customers when you do acquisitions, retentions. So the customer lifetime value is going to give you the leverage of how much you invest based on all the costs that you have, because this is based on your net profit. So, but the net profit comes with the four bucket. And if you make the sum of acquisition, retentions, and the two other bucket, this is how your customer lifetime value is going to be defined. Your churn rate is going to be defined. The cost of losing a customer is going to be defined. So profitability is there. And the best way to measure it is to compare yourself versus your industry or versus your competitors. And also, you can sometimes compare yourself to yourself. And you can say, and you can be very innovative saying, I don't understand why we have customer lifetime value of $5,000 for the first year, and we do 4,000 the second year and 3,000 the third year. And that is usually due to the churn rate. And you don't need to compare yourself to the industry or your competitors. You know that, by the way, you are not able to, yes, to keep your customers. Do you need new product? Do you need to create an ecosystem where customers are going not only to get your iPhone, but they are going to get your tablet and your laptop like Apple does? So you need to find the strategy, the CX strategy that is going to impacting your strategy. And that is a beauty that doesn't replace the AI will not replace the individual on that. AI will help the leaders to understand what they have to do and how they can do it. So you can search about your customer and understand how to keep them. And it's really based on the product development. It could be based on, there is so many factors. But to answer your question is, if you have all the KPI aligned, your profitability is there. And in addition, if you can show that your customer lifetime value grow year after year, it means you are completely on the right track and you have an organic growth that is profitable. That will be my answer. But yes.
Awesome. Awesome. And let's go about a little bit more of the long-term financial success, because when we talk about, you mentioned about long-term versus short-term earlier, I think the biggest question would be raised around, like, why do so few I would say few connect with customer experience with long-term financial success for these two areas? Why does it, a few companies or a few entrepreneurs, business owners would connect these two?
I mean, what you're asking is, say, why few will connect with customer success in order to succeed. I think that goes back to the long-term visions and if you are a forward thinker or not as a chief leader in your company. Really, if you are a leader, if you are forward thinkers, you should not face this type of issue. Now, if you go for a visions, and for instance, the leadership team ask for a revenue, net cash flow, that will impact the way that you are thinking, the way that you are growing your business. So I will say that really goes back to what I say. It's who is the leadership in your company and what is the visions. We talk about the strategy, the long-term strategy, let's say it's 18 months, 3 months. I think companies that fail are the companies that don't have a visions. And the vision is the 5-year visions, is the 10-year visions. When you think about Amazon never been profitable for 10 years, 12 years, but he has the visions. And Jeff Bezos has the visions to get there. Today, Amazon is 54% of the retail space. So they achieve it, they succeed. But today, they may face different challenge. So the vision needs to be rethink, remodel, in order for them to maintain this vision of keeping the leadership on the market. So when you are losing, for the few that are losing, I think are the few that do not have these visions. They don't know about how to create this strategy that is going to feed the vision, because they are just running the business on a day to day, making as much money as they can. And when he stop, he stop. He can stop because a lot of companies stop after COVID or before COVID because they have no way to turn the business in a different way. They were, for instance, a retail shop company. They didn't know how to turn the retail shop into a digital space or take the digital transformation. So if you don't have the visions to see your business, and you take a great example like Sephora is a retail shop industry, but their digital transformation and their digital strategy is amazing. So they got the vision and they say, we are a retail shop, but we need to move and reach our customer digitally. And they have been successful on the market versus some others didn't take the turn and they face the challenge of COVID, for instance. So to make the answer simple, I think you made me really thinking about it. And I think it's, how do you attach your strategy or your CX strategy, for instance, to your visions? And when you have a visions, it means you will have several strategy to achieve your visions over the times, because a strategy cannot take 5 years. The strategy usually is short and is building on your vision. So you need to have these two ingredients, the vision and the strategy that is building on your vision.
Yes, very valuable. Strategy and vision are very critical, which a lot of companies, business owners, they tend to neglect those two things sometimes
Yes.
when they're busy diffusing some problem in the company. So they tend to forget the bigger things, bigger scheme of things of the company.
Yeah.
So now let's just quickly talk about a little bit more about we had fun talking about like avatars, multilingual AI contents, and just to have a quick discussion around there here, maybe with your experience, like how has using avatars like transformed how you teach or maybe create content?
Yes, so I really embraced Avatar about 15 months ago when I was starting doing my producing the video for my classes. And it was taking me a lot of times. I was reshooting myself in order to be smart on a camera. But I think the idea of the new AI technology around Avatar is allowing you, and if I take the example of a teacher, to optimize your capacity to teach for the local. So I'm French native, I speak English, and sometimes when I communicate with other students around the world, they may not understand me based on my accent, and it may be difficult. So AI allow you to use your avatar to speak their language. And I realized that you can create your avatar based on your mimic, based on the way you talk. And the only things you have to change after that is let AI use your avatar and use your avatar with your script for your presentations. And you can use the avatar with an English accent, an American accent, a French accent. You can also use the avatar to do the translations. So right now I'm working on a project for Saudi Arabia, and I'm reshaping my promotional video and turning into an Arabic video. So the only thing I had to do is just change the slide, make it Arabic for Arabic people, and my avatar allow me to speak in Arabic, although I don't speak Arabic. So I think the AI, when I was saying it's an enabler, it's really amplify your capability to do more with less and to optimize your investment. So I use my avatar this way to reach more and be understood by everyone. And I think that is the beauty of creating an avatar. In addition of that, the production of the video, minimum now. So when I talk about this Arabic video for the promotion, I think it's a 3 minute video. It takes a minute to do it. And the production in Arabic is so simple that I don't have to do any corrections. I take it, I shape it, and it's ready to go. So that is one aspect of the way that I've been using the avatar for the production of the video of my course. It's productivity, and it's also be accessible for anyone around the world to access my knowledge or my course.
How much time have you saved from that in terms of like when you normally do it? Of course, the translating is something that you haven't done, but if you're gonna use Avatar to create contents, how many minutes or hours are you saving?
To give you the example of I shoot to produce course in studio, it takes 1 day to produce a course. So today, to so let's say 1 day it's 8 hours. To do with an avatar, you can produce a course in 1 hour or less than 1 hour. And I should talk about all this prep before shooting, where you create the script with and sometime instead of taking 1 day, it takes 2 days because the speakers is not really facing the camera the way we want. So it's a one. I will say it's 1 for 10, and it could be 1 for 20 hours. So that will be the ratio of leveraging avatar. And this doesn't not include the cost of it, which would be even greater.
Exactly, exactly. So that's really a lot of savings just for time.
Yeah.
Not to mention about money. So you're more productive. So now let's jump into more of a like a lot of people are still kind of resistant to the use of AI. Like just a quick question for you is how do you integrate AI in teaching without the human touch? Because the human touch is one of the objections that majority are raising in terms of customer experience.
I think AI is the enabler of your performance. But in order to drive performance, AI need your human touch and your expertise. If you think about prompting an application, when you prompt, you have to create the storytelling of the result that you want. So AI, the machine, is not going to create the storytelling for you, but is going to help you put the storytelling in place. And based on the storytelling, you have to check the output, the outcome, and do you get the result that you want? So AI, a lot of people think that it's going to replace the human, but it's not that. AI, it's, I will say, people who are going to succeed are people that are going to use AI versus people that do not use AI. And I was talking about the tool I created for SEO or the blog writing automation that I created. And in order to become a top writer for 2025, I have to create this model based on my perceptions, based on my perspective, based on my directions. So AI is a driver of my mindset, of my intelligence, but it make me more intelligent because he access a lot of information I don't have to access, and he process by computations the way I cannot do it. That is the answer. I encourage students to use AI, but with intelligence, because AI is not going to create your strategy. AI is going to help you perform your strategy or your go-to-market strategy. And that is true for everything you do. When Salesforce.com created AI to perform customer support, they still have a human treating 25% of the case of the ticket that are complicated that AI cannot do. Can AI over time bypass this ratio? Yeah, maybe they are going to increase by or just reduce by 20% the ticket for human touch. But the point is, 75% of the ticket are resolved with AI, and the customer satisfactions has increased because customer got the answer right away, 24 by 7, which they could not do that before. In order to achieve this result, AI has been driven by human that were controlling the ticket, controlling the content, the answers. And AI has optimized the performance by enabling individuals to understand by analysis of the language, by analysis of the image, what generative AI is good at that, to help the managers, the leaders, the decision makers to make the right decisions based on the data. So that's my answer. AI is your companion. Is the guy that you come with you every day and help you to be good and to perform well.
So it's really a fine balance of solving problems and also the human touch. So solving problems is much more important than to get that customer satisfaction versus like the human touch element.
Yes, and I think
So
the trend today
beautiful.
is we talk about generative AI, but the trend today is about automations. So it's about how do you automate activities, process, leveraging AI. So you take piece of generative AI, you connect with a platform, and you optimize your process and the automations. And yes, I think if we are getting where we want to be, I will say we are turning into what we call AI-based automation solutions or AI-based automated solution, which is, yeah, because I talk about creating application with ChatGPT, but I think when you think about it, now we are creating a full spectrum of applications that connect multiple generative applications on Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, and you use tools like Make or Defy to really create your AI application or solutions. So it's an automations of all these AI applications that give you the final solutions. And I think this is where the world is going right now.
yes, that's where the trend, the direction is. So I think it's a very awesome episode that we have, and we're about to close this podcast, and we're just gonna have this question about like we talk about the long term on how the business will thrive, will be successful long term, not just short term. So maybe a quick question about like if you want to give advice to a leader, a business owner, entrepreneur, what is their responsibility when using powerful new technologies?
I don't have an answer to that. I think it's more like a startup. So why do you invest in startup? Do you invest in startup because of the product? Yes, sure. But you invest in a startup because of the vision of the leaders. And you know that if the leader has the visions, the product will follow. So I will say today, the difficulty is to have these visions for all the leaders, understanding the new layer of AI on top of the digital transformations and how it's going to impact their business. So an analogy could be Uber. Uber, I think it was in 2007, they launched their fleet in San Francisco and they became successful right away and they disturbed the transportation industry. They totally destroy it and nobody saw that coming up. However, when I talk to the student, when I talk with professional, I always talk to them about what about the uberizations of your industry. It's so the leader who succeed after 2007 was the leader that understood how to integrate the uberizations of their economy, of their industry to be successful on the market. The example is after Uber, Airbnb was created. And Airbnb was working on the same concept where you put an individual in touch with another individual and you remove the middleman. So if you take this example, you think about the Uberization of the economy. And we talked about that 20 years ago. Now we are talking about these AI transformations. It's the same. And as a leader, you need to understand AI is going to impact your industry, your company, your consumers, your competitors, and how you are going to have to react. And I think we go this way. It's always cyclic, but the Uber example, it's a very good one because I think we are in the same situation, except we are talking about a different technology. And industry are going to leverage AI in a different way to succeed. Finance, healthcare, retailers will be using AI in a different way. So it's a little bit different from Uber, but the tech approach or the tech impact is there. So I always say to student and leader, not always look at your industry, your market, look around, get a 360 view, because what's happening outside of your industry may be useful for you to use in order to be successful in your industry. We talk about this avatar. If I'm in the education industry, avatar is a king and you want to use it. Does avatar could be used in the health industry? Yes. Could be used in the financial industry? Certainly. So if you are a leader, you need to look at around you about how technology is used. And in our case, it's more about how AI is used and how you are going to approach it in order to allow your team to integrate it and perform better. So stay awake, don't sleep, read, watch, and you should be good.
Beautiful advice. So let's have a quick one word answers. It's like just quick five questions. It's more of a surprise. And this is coming just from you, like your advice, your recommendations. So let's start with what's the one thing every entrepreneur should understand about AI?
Prompting versus coding. Coding means
Hmm.
you use Python's, Java. Prompting, you use your own word. And today you can code by using your own word. That is generative AI.
Beautiful. What's the biggest myth about scaling that most still believe?
I think the myth is scaling is either possible or impossible. And I will say you can make the impossible possible because of AI.
All right, cool. And which technology will disrupt your industry the most in 5 years?
If you talk about the educational industry, AI is going to be the disruptor. And I think today in the education system, nobody understand how to approach it, but it's going to destroy because outside of the framework of education, everybody use it. So which means they are going to use AI before the system change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing about your career, what would it be?
Networking. I never be fond of networking. And I think it's something that is critical and you need to embrace that as soon
Mhm.
as you engage in your professional life.
Yeah, awesome. What's the most important trait an entrepreneur needs for success?
Resilience. It's not a trait, it's resilience. Resilience means you believe and you don't let anybody tell you not to believe it. And yes, that is what something I've learned lately, by the way. And it's super important. Resilience. That's my treat.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so to close out, Frank, if you could share just one truth about AI with every entrepreneur, what would it be?
One truth, AI equal return on investment. That's the truth.
Awesome. So, Frank, thank you for joining today's episode. And to everyone listening, connect with Frank in his LinkedIn and his website. I'm going to put that in the comments on this podcast for more insights. So stay innovative, and we'll see you next time on Future Proof Leaders for Future Proof Business. And I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you, Justin.